Welcome back. We are here, and we are work in progress. My name is Jeff Garino, and I'm here with Ashantua.
Ashantua.
The same
Why
thing.
Are you putting H's
And
in my name?
because I like it. It's like more smooth. Okay. We are going to be discussing today. Our topic is past is prologue. No, that sounds too snooty. Maybe the past is present. Really, it literally is. I was actually interested in discussing the rail disaster in the United States in Ohio, because there's so many things about that particular event that are so relevant to everything that seems to be going on today with business, our environment, jobs, and just basically our economic financial world as it stands today. If for those of you who aren't familiar, there was a train derailment in Ohio in a blue-collar section of town. The town's name is East Palestine in Ohio, and I'm sourcing my news from The Guardian, but this is pretty much standard news all over, and most networks have covered it now. Originally, it wasn't even really covered, which is another interesting thing. When these kind of incidents happen, they're usually in like rural towns, blue-collar, working class, middle-class towns, and they don't, because there's train derailments a lot in the United States, apparently, and they don't always make the news because, who pays attention to these small cities. The news in the United States seems to be geared towards those states and cities which influence elections. So if you are not one of those states or cities, like things that happen within your city usually don't get much coverage. But if it's New York, California, these kind of places, they get covered. Florida. Yeah, they get coverage. So what I wanted to touch on is why this incident happened, the meaning of the state of affairs in the United States and what it means generally, business culture, and the future. So why this happened was the rail industry used to be made up of, in the United States, used to be made up of at least like 1.2 million workers. And this particular rail company, which if I can... there are three, which is another thing. A lot of businesses within the rail industry have consolidated, and if you ask me, it's just monopoly. So there's like three big ones. SSX, I believe, is one, but that's not the one who was responsible for this particular train. I think it's called the Norfolk Group, but you have to check me on that. They were carrying vinyl chloride, which is used to produce PVC plastic materials. The thing about that is that some of these materials were classified as hazardous and would have required certain levels of safety inspections and different kind of regulations to just be cautious in transporting these things, as far as like how much you can use and so on and so forth. But through a long line of deregulation and downsizing of this particular train company, which went from 1.1 million in the whole industry actually to now I think it's 117,000, and they were recently in the news, this group of workers, because they are unionized. And they were arguing for certain things like sick leave. They didn't have sick leave, like they couldn't take sick time at all. And I think they just recently got 4 days paid. I believe that's pretty good, huh? Yeah. And he said one of the workers I was listening to on Jimmy Dore show was being interviewed, and he said the bonuses were good, but we didn't have sick time. We didn't have time to take off and enjoy the fruits of our labor. Okay, all that being said was basically it was deregulated. this particular train company spent more on lobbying and stock buybacks to increase their profits, which amounted to, I believe, it's around $13 billion in profits. Their stock is doing really well. Dividends paid on those stocks do really well. But that was at the cost of getting rid of a lot of these workers, many of which were in the safety area as well as other areas. So I see that as a trend. And if you work, and I'm sure most people, hopefully those of you who are watching are employed and you're working, you've noticed this trend of downsizing, which I heard the first time I remember hearing that was in the 80s under Ronald Reagan. We're downsizing, which simply means we're firing people so that, we can have one person do the job of two. And that's supposed to be efficient. When you have business, which, again, business's responsibility is a fiduciary responsibility to make money. It's not that they're evil at all. That's what they're there to do. The government is there to be a balance, a stalwart, a bulkhead against going a little too far and also, balancing things out to a degree. But business has found a way to do what they've done in the past, which is why I call this the past being the present, which is to buy those politicians so that they do not regulate, which is we see. And it doesn't matter what political party you belong to. I'm speaking specifically of the states, but I know this happens everywhere. Whether you're Democrat or Republican in the states didn't really matter because neither one of them did anything. Like, for instance, Trump did a lot of deregulation, specifically the deregulation of this particular industry in carrying hazardous material, and Trump is now in that same city arguing against the Democrats because this happened under a Democratic president. So, I mean, the hypocrisy and the ironic part of it is amazing. But, of course, they think people are stupid, and most people today, frankly, are. And they don't realize this. They don't look into it. They just go along with whoever they like is telling them.
I must say, sadly, there's probably many of the same people that voted for Trump that are now receiving the fruits of his labor.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it'll still be Obama and Joe Biden's fault.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow. But to talk about history repeating itself, a similar situation happened in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a documentary about it on Netflix. It's called Meltdown, like 3 Mile Island. There was a nuclear accident, and many of the people in the area developed cancers and many problems years on from this, and immediately after. And of course, they were looking for, what happened, who's to blame. With now they have these lifelong issues. After the fact, many of them could not sue. Because, this happened in the 80s. So the excuse was many people were smokers, for example. So if you were a smoker who got throat cancer or lung cancer, you could not directly prove that this came from that nuclear accident. Or you're a woman that's maybe took birth control and now you have tumors and fibroids and all kinds of things. You couldn't technically prove that now you're in your 30s, 40s, you can have kids, that it was from this incident. And, of course, I fear this is exactly what's going to happen in this case in East Palestine. I have already heard there are people, they're being offered bottled water.
Oh,
but in order to receive this bottled water, you need to sign basically a waiver saying you are not going to sue or be a part of any class action that could come from this later.
Oh, man.
So it's either you give in now and you can give up everything later, or you suffer now and you could still potentially suffer later.
And this is what, I'm sad to say, a good majority of working class people are ignorant of, and they just go along with the picture. And I think it's it's a thing about not wanting to be uncomfortable, either emotionally or physically. And emotionally would be, did the person I vote for really just screw me over that bad? And they don't want to think of that. And, in the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. That's the whole thing about identity. People get wrapped up in their identity. It becomes a part of their ego, and to the degree that they'll ignore and deny truth, the truth of something, and to the detriment of everyone. But anyway.
But also, I would say there's definitely ignorance, but there's also a lack of options. We are talking about, like you said, blue-collar people that are in these very small towns. I'm angry for them. I don't blame them if they need that water, because they don't even have the money or the family to up and leave this place and go to California, Florida, hell, North Dakota, South Dakota, somewhere where they can just be somewhere with clean water. The people there already having medical side effects, which surprises nobody, I think. So I am angry that they're even being offered, so you can have clean water, but you can't sue us later.
But this is the same thing. This is not new. It's like the same thing happened. And when 9/11 happened in the United States, those buildings were old and filled with asbestos, which was after, I think it was like maybe 10 years after they realized, we shouldn't put asbestos in buildings, and removed it from a lot of places. I remember they closed schools to remove asbestos. Those buildings came down. Everything was pulverized and dust was in the air. And they told everyone in the area it was safe to go back, And meanwhile, firefighters, police, everybody who was down there, even people who worked there, decades later are suffering from tremendously horrible cancers. Cancers that are linked to...
I'm saying they're dying now. Was it Dusty Lady? I think she died 2 years ago. From the picture that I'm...
Yeah,
Dusty
she's covered
lady.
in dust.
Covered in dust, and she had stomach cancer develop after this, and she died recently, actually.
These particular... and let's talk about what these businesses decide is okay to transport through neighborhoods. We're talking about families, schools, churches, people, just think of your neighborhood. All of a sudden you can't live there because a company decided to take a risk and put your life and your family's life and your future health and your future financial health in jeopardy so that they can make a few extra bucks.
Because they decided you were worth the risk,
and they decided that you were worth. That you were part of the business cost. You and your family are part of the business cost. There are people with children, older people. One lady was interviewed. She was in her 70s. They said, "Are you going to move back?" And she said, "I'm 70 years old. I can't move back and risk anything. Like I don't have anything. Like if I move back and get sick, what am I supposed to do?" Healthcare in the United States is gone, and in this country, it seems like they want to destroy the healthcare system to privatize it as well. So the 5 billionaires in this country can make a few extra bucks off of the 300,000 that live here, and why that doesn't outrage people, or they don't see this shit coming, I have no idea. It's like blind going off a cliff, but they think you're stupid, and most people are acting that way. But let's see some of the chemicals that were associated with this accident. We're talking the chemicals likely contaminated are dioxins, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHSs, pyrofluoroalkylins, polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS. See, when you start getting into like the chemical names are just so ridiculously long that they just abbreviate it, the shit is bad. And all these have gone into the water and the ground, and the contamination is, they don't know how far it spread. Now, when it originally derailed, the chemicals were contained, but the fire was so hot that they said, look, we have to release the chemicals or there will be an explosion like a nuclear bomb. So they had to actually release the chemicals to avoid a massive explosion that would have sent shrapnel through the whole town. Now, this wasn't reported by the mainstream news, like that a train derailed and like the potential energy of that is like a bomb in the middle of the United States. Like, this is how much news protects business interests. Like, so just let that sink in for a second. News is supposed to report the news regardless, but they were silent on this. The Energy Secretary of the United States, Pete Buttigieg, didn't even make a comment on it till like a week after it happened, because people were saying, where is the Transportation Secretary? What does he have to say on this? And he was silent. And this is under the Biden administration. Now, remember, Biden, who many people think is better than Trump, has been there way too long in the government, And they caught him on a hot mic saying basically nothing will fundamentally change when he takes office, which means that they don't want change. They want the status quo, if anything, and they want worse for you and me. So this is symbolic of what industries, and this is all over industries, they want to cut to maximize profit. They don't really care about consumers. You think you're safe as a consumer, like I got money to spend and buy things? They don't really give a shit at this point. The incentives on business these days has nothing to do with customer service, quality of product. It has to do with how much they can get from you and walk away scot-free. And the governments are letting these things go because they're getting paid, which seems stupid. It's a stupid on a humane level, on a humanity level, just on being a human being level. It's like, okay, I made a bunch of money, but now I can spend it in all these places where they've cut so far that the products are inferior, and all they want to do is scam how much money they can get on me. That's why you got subscription models everywhere, regardless of what the product is. This is the new business model. It's not about building quality projects, having competition, which is capitalism. Competition is supposed to be good for who? You and me, the consumer. But that's out the window. I don't give a shit about you, me, and the consumer. Obviously, with stuff like this, they don't care about the consumer because all they're going to do is use their massive bonuses and benefits to buy back stock to make it look like they're successful. And these are the same people. These same people who call working class people lazy. The hubris, the nerve, the balls to say something as asinine as that for people who don't really want to innovate their businesses, put money back into their businesses to make them better, and to find new ways to make them more profitable. They just want to cut workers and pay themselves back to inflate their success. So you think your business leaders are smart. They're the most lazy group of people there are. They take other people's ideas, try to pass them off as their own, right? And then, how do they show their success? They take their profits and buy back their own stock. Now, I'm not a business major, but I think the average person isn't that stupid to understand that. You work, most people work. I know when I was growing up, they told me, whatever your work is, that's your name on your work. The quality of your work, you should have a certain respect for your reputation, blah, blah, blah. And in my working life in Iceland, there's only a couple of businesses, there are a couple, that I've seen actually take pride in what they built. And a couple other ones that are huge and some that are no longer in business, which isn't a surprise in Iceland because a lot of businesses come and go. The ones who actually put back and take a little pride, they're still here. And there's the places that I choose to spend my money. And other places just don't they just want to take the money out. To what? To be what? To buy an expensive car. That's the other thing. It's like I see a lot of expensive cars in Iceland on shitty roads. That is the most asinine thing. It's like the stupidest thing ever. I got a 100 million kroner Porsche that I'm driving on the shittiest roads, and I don't really care that the roads are shitty. It's like, who gives a shit that you have a Porsche and when the roads suck, when everybody else is living in shanty houses and the buses don't even run on time, and you can't even get on a bus because the system is all effed up because somebody decided to change the way you pay to make somebody else rich, and that person doesn't give a shit enough about their business, so you can't even use the app to tranquility now. Tranquility now. But it only changes when people have had enough, when people get fed up. Unfortunately, I think we're still so beguiled that, I have my latest iPhone, or I have this. They don't really get these fights that are going on. People are saying, I don't have enough money to afford my bills. And everybody, well, that's these people. That's okay. What, the foreigners? The foreigners that come to work? We don't even really pay attention to them anyway. So, I mean, what does that really matter? And that's the thing. Humanity, people, we are all connected. Everything has a cylindrical value to it. That's the way life works. That's the way nature works. I don't think people get it. What do you think?
We're
Am I wrong?
expendable in capitalism. That's why I feel. Well, I mean, I feel it's true. Sorry, it's true. We're expendable. It doesn't matter that we bring value, that are, like you said, you can work somewhere and the name that you put on your work for the past 30, 40, 50 years is excellent. When it's time to trim the fat or have a culling, you can go too. You know, they will make that very clear. This is not personal, it's business. This is why the lazy degenerates are expendable. Mm-hmm. It's just numbers. You gotta go.
Who are the lazy degenerates? I've seen people who...
The lazy degenerates are the people that are actually, I would say, making the money, but they've been here and they need to be paid their worth. As soon as you start asking people to pay you what you are worth, you're I don't know, like that's really weird. You have a job, you should be grateful. You're being kind of lazy, actually. And as a Black American, as soon as we stopped working for free, we were called lazy. And I would say that was slavery. So we weren't even working.
That's true.
So as soon as you start having to blame Black people, we were lazy, we were this and that. And
regardless of Black Wall Street and all this.
It's just like, no, people need to be paid what they're worth. It doesn't matter what you look like. But once they start saying we need more, we need unions, we need this, no, you don't want to do these more work hours because you're lazy. Mm-hmm. You don't want to take this pay cut and work harder and work more because you're lazy. This is how they try to repackage their bullshit to you. Some people, like I said, they eat it up because they are temporarily embarrassed millionaires and billionaires.
Temporarily, that's good.
They're going to make it there one day. They just have to, pull themselves up by their shoestraps. Mm-hmm. They're a little embarrassed right now. And then they're going to be up there with everyone else.
And that's the thing, there was a graph that some YouTuber did on how we spend our life, like where we spend our time. Mm-hmm. Somebody's drilling, so I'm sorry for that interruption. But they did a graph on where we spend most of our time. And most of our time spent is in our work life. Like we spend more time at our jobs than we do with our families. Many do. And that was so interesting to me. Like nobody thinks of that. And then of course the retirement age again, it's like that's when after you've worked your whole life you can have a little time to whatever. They want to raise that. like you know what? Let's raise it to 85. But the average lifespan is 75. They'll make it.
Work hard.
Work hard. That's good for you. That's good things for you right there. Work to death, literally working yourself to death. One of the things that I loved when I moved to Iceland was that when I first came here, I remember how quiet it was at 9 o'clock in Kópavogur. It was so quiet I couldn't go to sleep. I was like, what? Where am I? It felt like the Twilight Zone to me. Because in the States, there was always an ambulance, a police car, noise of some kind, like traffic, like... It was insane. It was kind of funny because I was like, why is it so quiet? It's 9 o'clock. Like, there was no... I looked down the street and there was like one car. It's like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, maybe people had a life, outside of work. It was amazing to me. It was lovely to me. You could go out, quiet, walk your dog or your kid, whatever. And that's slowly, a little change. I come from a 24-hour society. Everything's on. I'm on the East Coast. Everything's on. Everything's go. Productive. Like no matter what. Like you're going to and from work, and you're on the phone. What's the next meeting? What's the next thing? And it's like, damn, man. And you wonder why people are stressed. You wonder why people flip out in the States. People like why are there so many shootings and stuff? Like they get no. You're under constant like pressure, and then the pressure. Then they tell you you're lazy. That's why, and you're not lazy. Like the mental strain.
It's not something we are we're supposed to be doing as humans. It's not what we are conditioned to be doing. It's the same as animals. I mean, during lockdown, everyone was starting, you're in the house all the time and you're like, oh my God, I can't go outside. I can't see people. And you're going a bit crazy. And everyone's like, this is how animals feel in the zoo. And it's like, yeah, this is why I think most people, we're not really okay all the time. You're going to work, you're coming home, you're doing the laundry, you're doing the dishes, you wake up, go to work, you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're like, okay, I don't feel well mentally. Like, I'm tired of, like you said, you get off work, you're on the phone. Okay, so they answer this meeting, and then this is not good for you as a person. Here in Iceland, I do find we have more of this downtime where people are like, oh, you have, your 2 sick days a month. Use them. They roll, like, take your time. It's like, oh, okay. So I don't want to come into work tomorrow. Okay, that's fine. You're not feeling well. Yeah, I don't feel well, so I'm not coming in. And you're like, okay, am I still gonna have a job or go to work? Oh, you're feeling better. Okay, cool. It's like, oh, okay, that went well. So no one is like, oh, well, you can't come in tomorrow, so we're gonna have to find someone else to do your job who can be here every single day.
Exactly. That is so. It's so harsh to think that that's kind of how we, not how we, but how the system treats people. It doesn't make sense. After the lockdown, I find it weird. Like, after the lockdown, that people still ignore people's gaze. It's like, dude, you were in the house by yourself with your spouse for like months or weeks at a time, and now that you're finally
discovered they didn't like each other.
That's true.
Because you know why? You were going to work, you were doing this every single day. You didn't have to be with each other, kind of like alone. With like, in a sense, with your thoughts, with your spouse, and you're just like,
what actually is going on?
Okay, so we had like the kids for like here 19 years. We both had work, and now it's just me and you, and you're like, who the hell are you? So now it's time you have to, during lockdown, whoever you lived with, you had to learn each other's habits of being together all the time. And then maybe you learned you didn't actually like that person that much. And now you're seeing it and you're like, shit, we're together for who knows how long now.
But think about how crazy we are mentally. It's like, we're like, oh, lockdown, can't go anywhere. Damn, can't go in. I got to get out. I got to see people. And then they get out and see people and they're like, it's like, wait a minute, dude. You were in the house. This is all you were doing in the house. Now you're just doing it outside. It's like,
in front of me.
Yes, it's like, observe the people around you, get the energy. And then people don't realize they give off that energy. They give off that stay away from me, don't talk to me energy. And social media just extends that thing. We were talking about TikTok and the latest blah, blah, blah. And all those things are like short things. I do photography myself, and they're like, if you do photography, you got to do videos. It's like, wait a minute, but I like to do photography. Well, you got to do a video, man. You got to do like 3 seconds of this. Like, 3 seconds. What does that tell you? Doesn't tell you a damn thing. But that's how the trend is. That's what the trending is. Oh, so you watch something for 3 seconds. Oh, okay, you watch something else for 3 seconds. And I noticed this because I love movies. I'm American, so come on. Love movies, TV shows, and like I noticed like the trailers. The trailers had gotten like epileptic seizures. It's like I didn't even have or think I would have those. But now all the trailers come in, it's like, it's like the latest movie comes out. It's like, blam, and he did this with you never. That's what the trailer is, and you're like, wait, what happened? And it's like oh man, and that's a TikTok video. What I just did, 4 seconds. Somebody. Look, I just did you a favor. TikTok. Boom. 5 million views.
I'm making this a meme. I hope you know I'm gonna make a
TikTok don't make me famous.
That clip of you doing that.
Make me famous. Maybe I'll get paid to open boxes.
I mean, you're a man with a mic. You could also get famous.
Man with a mic?
Yeah.
A man with a mic. Interesting.
You could get on TikTok.
No, you know what? I need to be a cute girl with a mic, because anybody will watch a cute girl do anything, I swear.
That's true.
A cute girl. Just all you got to do is like, I'm brushing my hair, and it's just like 5 million views. I'm telling you.
But where's the money in that, Jeffrey?
Hair products? I don't know. I'm so confused. Like, I am from literally the old school. Like the business models that I was like reading and studying was like Pepsi and Coke and all this stuff. Like how they
Now they're on TikTok, Jeffrey. Get with the times.
Yeah, and that was before Coke and Pepsi owned like everything. That was when they were just starting to acquire like potato chips and like other things other than Coke. Now Coca-Cola owns like Coca-Cola owns natural water everything. Brand. It was so funny. Like Coke owns like all these healthy like brands. Like, dude, you're Coke. It's like a Coke dealer selling like vegetables or some shit. You know, it's just like, dude, but that's not your brand. It's like,
but it is.
But it is now.
But it is.
But it is.
Nestle, Mondelez International, like they own this web of is like this. Unilever, like they own everything.
Six companies own all the food. Like most of 76 companies own, I think it's 70 to 80% of the food that we buy, and 6 companies. That blows my mind. And then when I looked up what Coke actually owns, what they've acquired, I didn't even know like half the stuff that is under Coke's umbrella. It's like insane. And then you wonder why Americans are so sick. I was in a nutrition class, and they always talk about the United States, and as if it's the Americans' fault for being overweight. It's like, no, it's what they're being fed. It's like what they have available. You act like it's a personal, choice decision. It's like, did we just tell you about the train derailment and all the shit that's in the ground in the water right now, and you wonder why people drink Coke? Because it's the safest thing at this point. If they were
price gouging water, it wouldn't surprise me if they were price gouging anything in this area now. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And this is also part of another reason why they're willing to give you some free water if you sign this waiver. Because now, I mean, they have the opportunity to do it if you think about it. And in the U.S., you get it from all angles. You are not offered healthy food options, which lead to medical problems. And then when you need health care, one, you can't get it. It's super delayed, or they're offering you medicines that have side effects that are going to get you, like, yeah, your kidney won't fail, but now your lungs will not work. So the other option that we're going to offer you for your lungs not working from this medication, it's like, do you want me to live or not? Well, these problems, this is America. This is sad, but this is the end of that story.
And that's what we see in our industries and businesses. Now the model is profits over people. It's it has nothing to do about consumers. They've taken the consumer out of the equation, and all they're doing is sucking the teat off the government's tax money. And the politicians just act like, what? This is business. They are good for us. They are the job creators. What kind of jobs? Never mind what kind of jobs. They're job creators. And you should have at least 3 of them to be happy, because we all know that work makes a person happy. Actually, that's true. A person who has a job is much more happier than one without a job. There's certain psychology at play with this. So it's like, even if I have a shitty job, it's better than having no job. Because then, of course, if you have no job, you're just lazy, or you're a content creator.
Content creators do
that was a pause for effect.
They make money though, Jeffrey.
They do.
I'm not saying I'm wrong.
You know
but
what?
Like, if I could low key pimp you out, I feel like you could make me some money.
Me? No, I think you can make the money. Now we're talking. I don't know what it is.
Off of you.
Off of me?
Yeah.
I don't rap or anything. I don't do anything sellable.
I'm gonna figure it out. This is why
I see. But I don't want to be the face in front of the camera. I want to be the puppet master behind the camera.
Then who's the puppet? Well, if you gotta ask, that's the problem.
I gotta find a puppet. That's what, you know.
Now
what?
I'm telling all women to stay away from you.
I want to be one of those charismatic religious leaders. Like you need to sell.
Are you
going
to try to Hillsong us?
You need to sell everything and give it to me because
You're
will
gonna
show
be
you
Joel.
the way.
Are you going to be the Black Joel Osteen? Is it Joel Osteen? Don't mega church us.
Church.
You're gonna Hillsong us. I mean,
God told me that I need a private jet because I can't fly with you people. You have too many problems. I have to be up here in the heavens with my private jet.
You know what you should do?
And it costs only $50 billion.
You should become a politician.
Oh no, no, no! I can't.
Because
I can't sell my soul that much.
This is being a politician. If I'm being a politician is the only career criminal.
Wow.
That will ever get respect.
Sante, that's strong wordage. That's strong wordage. But given that,
I'm just saying.
Given that, I think I have the key to it. I think I could do it. I would have to say something like, "We have problems in this world today, and I know, I feel that pain. My solution is we are going to get more jobs, and we're going to get more people back to work. We're going to extend." No, that sounded too good, didn't it? That was kind of what they already say.
All I'm saying is, I kind of low-key believe you when you talk like that.
Wow.
Now let's call up Pepsi and Coca-Cola and get some money on the table. You see what I'm saying?
There you go. There you go.
That's how it is.
There you go.
You
Because
should be a politician.
A politician. Because the people, the good people of this country, deserve good leadership. And therefore...
They're not getting it.
Oh, they will get it.
Not from me, not from you.
What? You're supposed to sell. You're supposed to sell. This is this is our pitch.
I mean,
our pitch.
That's always the thing behind doors. I fully believe when you are a politician, you have to know who you're spitting your game to. Of course, who's
that's
your audience.
I'm trying to find my.
Who's your demographic.
I'm trying to find my demographic.
And these are people that have to believe what you were saying, even if, like you said, Joe Biden said nothing is going to change. Even if we all know nothing here is going to change. But these people have to believe that.
That's the thing. I know how to do the American thing. Because the American thing goes something like this. My fellow Americans, as a patriotic American as myself, guns and God come first. You should be able to have the right to protect yourself. And the government should not interfere. Even though I'm running for government, I will not interfere with your freedom. Because we're about freedom and liberty. And big words that I don't have to define and what they mean. Vote for me. I'm your guy.
And now how do we do it in Iceland?
See, that's the thing. I don't know what do they believe. Okay, here's what I think they believe. My name is Jeffrey Jefferson, and I am rich.
Shade.
I know what this country needs. That's about it, I think. I think that's pretty much it.
Wait, no, but you also need to add that Iceland is Icelandic. It should stay Icelandic.
Oh, yeah,
we are a strong nation.
Right. Sorry, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
White man.
White man? What is that? But I'm not the white man.
Named after somebody's son.
Okay.
Yeah, farmers.
Farmers.
Iceland.
Fish. Farmers, fishermen, sailors. This is the backbone of a great country. This great nation. And we, you know who I mean when I say we, need to keep it that way.
You, Jeff.
What?
Not me and you.
I know, I just cut myself out of the whole thing.
You cut out our demographic. You cut out basically
But
all
that's
the
it. That's it. Come on. The working class people of this country deserve true leadership. And I believe that we are on the right course.
From rich
Unlike
white people
those
who understand their experiences.
those leftists who want fair wages, those leftists who want clean water, those leftists who want roads you can drive on, buses that are on time. These are lazy people because you can walk. Why don't they just walk? I don't know. These leftists want to take your money, your tax dollars. We don't want to take it. We just want to give it away. We're not going to take it. We'll just give it away. Okay, I gave it up to maybe they'll catch on to that. I don't know.
All I'm saying is if I were managing you, this wouldn't happen.
Okay. But I have to have, I need like the Icelandic sweater at least. I got to have change outfit. Something. We got to do this right.
Something with the flag on it?
Yes. I have a feeling that I'm not the guy. I'm going to have to change my name totally.
Why can't you be the guy? I mean, if we're being
could
honest.
Could I be the Barack Obama for Iceland?
But
I could be the Barack Obama for Iceland.
You would have to, like I said, you'd have to be a politician. You'd have to be a career criminal. You got to start somewhere, so maybe city council.
Wow. But okay.
I didn't say that though.
I believe there's only one Iceland. I believe that we need to come together as one nation.
Why you do him like that?
Because that's kind of how he pauses.
You're me.
Yeah.
You're me.
It's choosing
He's a
your
career
words
criminal, not an actor.
Come on, you choose your words very carefully. You have to choose your words carefully. You can't say anything of actual substance. That's the key. You can never say anything of actual substance. It's like, for instance, how are you going to take care of this problem, Senator Jeffrey? How are you going to take care of this problem? We are looking into that. We are our committee is
the numbers
actively
show that
investigating.
We need more jobs.
No numbers. We don't have numbers yet, but we're looking into it, and we will make sure that we get to the bottom of what the issue is. And when we do, we will inform you of our decision on what we think of the solution of the possible problem. Therefore, let us continue to go forward, not look back. Don't look back and see the bones behind me, because we need to look forward and not think about the past, because the past is where all the dirt is, and we want to not look that way.
Problems that you didn't cause.
Yes, exactly.
It was someone else that
It was someone else who looked very much like me, but wasn't me, because that's the past, remember? And we're looking forward. Clean slate.
Not at the kickbacks.
No kickbacks. Nobody's kicking anything. That would be wrong. That would be assault. And we're not about that. We're peaceful, and we come together as one people. And that is my message. 2024, 28.
Ooh, I don't even know.
That's terrible. We are very bad at this. So our next guest will be someone with more political knowledge than us, because we really, for me personally, I cannot take any more political.
I was about to say, is any politician actually going to have more political knowledge than us?
Interesting.
If we're being honest here, let's be real. Let's be informative to the people, because you see the way they are chopping up politics. Everywhere in the world, and it's actually quite ridiculous. It can't be. I would say, especially here in Iceland, a lot of things are based on nepotism. And as I've been saying, for such a small
nepotism,
country,
that isn't with two girls or anything. That's not what that is. I'm sorry. I'll just continue on.
Basically, here, everything seems, you always find some people that are connected and related somehow.
Yes.
And
it is a close country.
Many of them are way underqualified for the work that they're doing.
But they are Icelandic, so they're qualified. How dare you?
You see? So this is why we know this is about nepotism.
Okay.
So it wouldn't surprise me. So many people had jobs that they were kind of fumbling through, and they had an underling who was basically like doing all the work, and they're like, yeah, I totally understand this policy that we're trying to put through. Am I being paid to be here? Oh no, okay, yeah, I don't know, yeah, I'm voting no. Iceland needs or wants, I guess, to be inviting to other employees like high tech and all this stuff, and it's like, but what would they be coming into? Like, would they have the ability to grow? They would come into a struggle for housing, inflation. Well, if you're in a high enough wage, maybe not. I think the thing is, it's hard for everyone. Okay. Especially if you are there. I think there are plenty of 70 million Icelandic kroner homes. Unless your job is like, if you're a foreigner who's coming here, unless your job is helping you find housing first and establish housing, it's still rather hard. So let's, with all that being said, if you support my candidacy, please donate to the Jeff for Politician Fund here on our channel. And send the money directly to my bank account. Thank you. With that, we're going to end it, and we'll say thank you for watching. That's our opinion. Let us see what happens in the coming days as to this real disaster, if it'll get worse, if they'll actually give you news on what's actually happening. And we'll also see if we'll have any other information as to what's going on in Iceland with our striking situation. Well, the 2-week work ban. 2-week work ban. Starts on the 2nd of March. 2nd of March, okay. With that, we want to thank you, and we will end with that. Good night and good luck.